The financial world, well, it basically just stopped. We're diving deep into the story of the Lehman Brothers collapse and how one single company's failure set off a chain reaction that honestly was felt in every corner of the globe. So, I want you to do something for me. Just picture a totally normal morning. You're waking up, you're grabbing your coffee, maybe you flick on the news. And the first thing you hear is this. Those institutions, the ones you thought were solid as a rock, the places that hold everybody's money, they're suddenly just teetering on the edge. Okay, so then you check your own retirement fund, your investments, and the numbers are just in a free fall. And that feeling of dread starts to creep in, not just for you, but for everyone everywhere. And then the gut punch. We are not talking about a little dip in the market. We're talking about a catastrophic loss of wealth on a global scale. And the craziest part? This wasn't some movie script. This was real life. This was September 15th, 2008. So how in the world do we get here? Well, to understand the crash, you've got to understand the giant that was standing right at the epicenter, a firm called Lehman Brothers. See, Lehman wasn't just some random company on Wall Street. It was an absolute cornerstone of the global financial system. It was an institution that felt as old and as permanent as Wall Street itself. Just look at that number, over 150 years. Think about that. This bank survived the Civil War, the Great Depression, 2 world wars. I mean, it was the very definition of a permanent fixture. It seemed like it would be there forever. And this really gives you a sense of its reputation. Investors poured their money in without a second thought. Governments all over the world worked with them. The entire ecosystem of Wall Street kind of depended on them to keep things running. The idea that a company like Lehman could just fail? It was unthinkable. But behind all that power, this titan was developing a fatal flaw. You see, behind the scenes, a huge, high-stakes gamble was being made. Yep, underneath that shiny surface of stability, Lehman was making a massive bet. It was pouring billions and billions of dollars into the riskiest part of the U.S. housing market, what we call subprime mortgages. These were basically loans given to people who were very, very likely to default. And this just shows you the two sides of that coin perfectly. On the left, you had the housing boom. It looked like genius, profits were soaring, confidence was sky high. It was all sunshine and roses. But then you look to the right. When the market cracked, that sunny day turned into an absolute hurricane. That genius bet, it became poison. See, here was the real problem. Lehman had bundled up all those risky mortgages and sold them as super safe investments. But when people started defaulting on their loans, those products, these so-called toxic assets, became worthless almost overnight. The bank wasn't just in a little trouble. It was literally drowning. And here's the thing that's just so scary, how fast it all went down. It was a terrifyingly fast chain reaction. The housing market cracks, boom. That exposes all the worthless junk on Lehman's books. This sparks this massive panic, right? And then everyone wants their money back, all at the same time. Let me tell you, no bank on earth can survive that. The fall of Lehman Brothers wasn't some isolated event. No, it was like a bomb going off, sending a devastating shockwave across the entire global economy. This timeline really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? For over a century and a half, it's a symbol of strength. Then, on a single Monday morning, it becomes the biggest bankruptcy in the history of America. And the aftermath? A crisis that would touch nearly every single person on the planet. And this, right here, is why this story is so important. It's not just about numbers on a screen. We're talking about stock markets crashing from Tokyo to London. We're talking about millions of ordinary people losing their jobs, their homes being taken away, their life savings just gone. The human cost was absolutely immense. This quote just hits the nail on the head. It's such a powerful way to describe something called systemic risk. It's this idea that one company could be so big, so connected, so woven into the very fabric of the financial system that when it finally goes down, it doesn't just fall, it creates a vacuum. It pulls every other part of the global economy down with it. That's systemic risk. And in 2008, the world learned about it the hard way. So as we start to wrap this up, what's the big takeaway from this whole financial earthquake? Well, it serves as a powerful and pretty painful warning to all of us. And this is the most crucial point to get. What happened to Lehman wasn't just some big company going out of business. It was a giant warning bell, signaling that there were deep, deep flaws in the way our modern economy worked. It was a brutal reminder of the three-headed monster that can bring down any system. You've got the insatiable hunger of greed, the blindfold of overconfidence, and a complete and total disregard for risk. That toxic cocktail was potent enough to destroy one of the most powerful institutions in history. I think this quote just captures the epic, almost tragic scale of this whole story. It wasn't really just about finance. It was a drama about human nature, wasn't it? About our ambition, our flaws, and the devastating consequences when those things collide on a global stage. So I guess that leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? Was the fall of Lehman Brothers just a one-off thing, a massive failure that we've learned from and, fixed? Or is it something more? A timeless warning that these dangers, this greed, this risk, are always hiding just beneath the surface, waiting for their chance to erupt all over again. Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for digging into this with me today.